Hello, and welcome to our podcast episode number 74. A new chapter in the epic battle between humans and apes unfolds. I am Timothy, and I'm here with my friend Thomas. Tonight, we're going to discuss a film called Kingdom of Mae, the Planet of the Apes. As always, spoilers ahead. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a 2024 American science fiction action film directed by Wes Ball and written by Josh Friedman. It takes place 300 years after war for the Planet of the Apes, following a young chimpanzee named Noa who embarks on a journey with a human woman named Mae to determine the future for apes and humans alike. Tommy, what's your take on Kingdom of Mae, the Planet of the Apes?
Ah, yes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It was quite a ride, Timothy. I found it to be an interesting take on the franchise, though it didn't quite reach the heights of its predecessors for me. The visual effects were astonishing, as always with this series, but the story felt a bit convoluted, and the pacing could have been better. But let's not forget that it's still part of the Planet of the Apes universe we all love so much. It brings in some fresh new characters, while also staying true to the core elements of the series. The performances were top-notch, particularly from Owen Teague, who played Noa and Freya Allen as Mae. I give it a solid 7 out of 10 stars. What about you, Timothy? How did you find the film?
Well, I must admit that I was hesitant to watch this one due to my general dislike for science fiction films. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes pleasantly surprised me. It had everything a good film needs: captivating storytelling, stunning visuals, and strong performances. The main characters, Noa and they were particularly well developed, and their journey throughout the movie kept me engaged. I also appreciated how the film managed to raise important questions about the future of humanity and apes without being too preachy or heavy-handed.
I see you're starting to enjoy science fiction more, Tim.
Maybe a little bit. I still prefer historical dramas, but this one was quite good. I give it an 8 out of 10 stars.
Excellent. Now, let me ask you something about the plot, Timothy. How do you feel about the idea of apes and humans living together in harmony? Is that a realistic or even desirable outcome for such a conflict-ridden relationship?
It's an interesting question, Tom. In my opinion, it would take a lot of work from both sides to achieve such a level of understanding and cooperation. But I think it's worth striving for as long as the rights of both species are respected and protected. After all, we share this planet, and we should learn to coexist peacefully.
A wise sentiment indeed, Tim. I couldn't agree more.
I must say that the plot twist regarding the human-ape hybrid was quite unexpected and added a layer of depth to the story. It's an intriguing idea to explore, especially in terms of how it would affect both societies and their relationships with each other. The characters Noa and Mae were instrumental in driving this part of the plot forward, and their chemistry on screen was undeniable.
You're right about that, Tim. I found the hybrid aspect to be a bit far-fetched at first, but it worked surprisingly well within the context of the film. It also raised some interesting questions about the nature of identity and how we define ourselves as individuals or members of a group. And yes, Noa and Mae had great chemistry together. Their dynamic was one of the highlights of the movie for me.
Indeed. Another aspect I found intriguing was the concept of memory implantation through the use of technology. It seemed like a convenient way to explain why certain characters knew information that they otherwise wouldn't have access to, but it also opened up a lot of possibilities for future installments in this franchise.
Yes, the idea of memory manipulation was quite fascinating. It allowed for some interesting character development and plot twists, but at the same time, it raised ethical concerns about the use of such technology. I wonder if we'll see more exploration of that concept in future films or even in this one's sequel.
Well, I hope so. I found Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to be a gripping and entertaining addition to the franchise. It managed to balance action and drama while still raising important questions about our relationships with each other and the world around us. And now for my question to you, Tom. What's an interesting trivia fact about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that you found out during your research?
Let me think. Oh, did you know that the filmmakers consulted with primatologists and animal behaviorists to ensure the apes' actions in the movie were as realistic as possible? They even used motion capture technology to study how chimpanzees move and interact with each other, which resulted in more authentic performances by the digital actors. Fascinating stuff.
That is quite interesting, Tom. It just goes to show how much effort and detail went into making this film a success. Thank you for sharing that trivia fact with us.
Yes, indeed, Timothy. I was also surprised to learn that some scenes were filmed in practical locations rather than just being computer-generated. The filmmakers used actual forests and mountains as backdrops for some shots, which adds an extra layer of realism to the movie. Another interesting fact is that several actors had to undergo rigorous training to prepare for their roles, including physical conditioning and learning how to work with the motion capture technology.
That's quite impressive. It shows how dedicated the cast and crew were to creating a believable world for this story. Speaking of the cast, I read somewhere that there was a bit of controversy surrounding one actor's decision to portray an ape character. Some people felt that it was offensive or inappropriate. How do you feel about that, Tom?
Well, Timothy, I must admit that I agree with those concerns on some level. It can be argued that using human actors to play apes reinforces harmful stereotypes and perpetuates the idea of humans being superior to other species. However, in this particular case, I believe the intentions were not malicious. The filmmakers wanted to create realistic characters and felt that motion capture technology was the best way to achieve that. Plus, they did consult with animal advocacy groups throughout the production process to ensure ethical treatment of both the actors and the animals involved. So while there are valid concerns about using human actors in ape roles, I think this particular case is more complicated than simply labeling it as offensive or inappropriate.
That's an interesting perspective, Tom. I can see where both sides are coming from. On one hand, it is important to be respectful and considerate towards other species, especially when portraying them in such a prominent way. On the other hand, as you mentioned, motion capture technology has come a long way and can create incredibly realistic characters. I guess it's up to the filmmakers and actors involved to approach these roles with sensitivity and care.
Exactly, Timothy. It's all about finding the right balance between creating compelling stories and being respectful of other living beings. In the end, it comes down to the intentions behind the storytelling process. And in this case, I believe that the intention was to tell a powerful story about acceptance, understanding, and coexistence between different species. It's up to us as viewers to recognize that and appreciate the message being conveyed without losing sight of the ethical considerations at play.
Well said, Tom. Moving on from that discussion, let me ask you this. What did you think about the pacing in a Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? It felt like there were some slow moments, but overall it kept my attention pretty well throughout its runtime.
I agree with you, Timothy. There were some slower moments in the film which could have been tightened up a bit. However, I think those moments served a purpose by allowing us to get to know the characters and their motivations better. It helped build anticipation for the more action-packed sequences later on. And when those moments did come around, they were executed very well, with some impressive visual effects and intense choreography. So while I wish there had been a bit more balance between the slower and faster pacing throughout the film, I understand why certain choices were made in terms of storytelling and character development.
That's true, Tom. The character development was quite strong in this movie, especially for Noa and Mae as they went through their journey together. Their relationship evolved nicely over time, which added depth to the story overall. What about you? Did you have any favorite scenes or moments from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Absolutely, Timothy. One of my favorite scenes was when Noa and Mae first encounter each other in the ruins of San Francisco. The chemistry between Freya Allen and Owen Teague was palpable, and it really set up their dynamic for the rest of the film. I also enjoyed action sequences involving the ape characters, particularly those featuring Caesar's son, Cornelius. His fight scenes were both thrilling and emotional, showcasing not only his skill as an ape warrior, but also his struggle to find his place in this new world order.
Those are some great choices, Tom. The action sequences were definitely one of the highlights of the film. They had a good balance between practical stunts and CG effects, which added to their authenticity. And speaking of practical stunts, I heard that some of them were quite dangerous for both the actors and stunt doubles involved. Any thoughts on that aspect?
Yes, Timothy. I read about some of those stunts as well, and it's certainly impressive how far filmmakers are willing to go in order to capture realistic action sequences on screen. While I understand the risks involved in these types of stunts, I also appreciate the dedication and skill of both the actors and stunt performers who make them look effortless on camera. It's important for films like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to maintain that level of authenticity in their action scenes, even if it means taking some calculated risks along the way.
It's interesting to hear your perspective on the risks involved with some of those stunts. I think it really adds an element of excitement and unpredictability to the film, which can be quite thrilling for viewers.
Now, let me ask you this.
Did you have any favorite actors or performances from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Absolutely, Timothy. I thought Owen Teague did an incredible job portraying Noa, bringing both vulnerability and strength to his character. And Freya Allen was equally impressive as Mae, showcasing her range as an actress by navigating the complexities of her character's journey throughout the film. But perhaps my favorite performance came from William H. Macy, who played the role of the elderly scientist who held some critical information about the ape society. His nuanced portrayal of a man grappling with his past choices and their consequences added depth to an already compelling storyline.
I agree with you, Tom. All of the actors did an amazing job bringing their characters to life. And speaking of characters, let's talk about one in particular that stood out for me, Caesar, played by Peter Macon. His performance was both commanding and emotionally resonant, especially during those scenes where he had to balance his responsibilities as a leader with his personal desires for peace and harmony between the apes and humans. What did you think about Caesar's character arc throughout the film?
I completely agree, Timothy. Peter Macon was absolutely fantastic in the role of Caesar. His performance captured both the wisdom and the vulnerability of this iconic character from the original Planet of the Apes franchise. As for his character arc, I thought it was very well crafted. We saw him evolve from a fierce warrior leader to someone who is willing to make sacrifices for peace, even if it means going against his own instincts or the wishes of his followers. His relationships with both Noa and Cornelius played crucial roles in shaping this development, making Caesar's storyline all the more compelling.
That's a great point, Tom. The relationship between Caesar and his son Cornelius added another layer of depth to the film as it explored themes of legacy leadership and the struggle to find one's place in the world. Their dynamic was both heartwarming and intense at times, which made their scenes together all the more memorable.
Absolutely, Timothy. I found myself deeply invested in Cornelius's character arc throughout the film. His journey from being a young, impressionable ape to becoming a capable warrior and eventually questioning his father's decisions was very well executed by both the writers and Owen Teague, who played him. The scenes between Caesar and Cornelius showcased not only their strong bond, but also highlighted some of the complex emotional dynamics at play within the ape society.
Now that we've discussed several characters from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, let me ask you this. Do you think the film has had any significant impact on other films or TV shows in terms of its themes, storytelling elements, or visual effects?
That's an excellent question, Timothy. I believe that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has had a significant impact on both the film and television industry. Its stunning visual effects set a new benchmark for realistic depictions of animals in movies, which has since been emulated by other projects such as The Lion King and Dune. Additionally, the film's exploration of complex themes like identity, power dynamics between species, and the consequences of human actions on the environment have inspired many other stories across various mediums. As for its influence on storytelling elements and character development, specifically within the science fiction genre, I think it has opened up new possibilities for future projects by showing that even well-established franchises can be revitalized with fresh perspectives and compelling narratives.
That's a fascinating perspective, Tom. I can see how Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has had such a profound impact on both film and television. It really pushes the boundaries in terms of visual effects while also exploring deeply resonant themes that are relevant to our society today. Speaking of which, I was wondering if you could think of any other films or TV shows that have been influenced by this movie.
Precisely, Timothy. One of the most notable examples is the TV series Planet of the Apes from 2014, which was also produced by Fox. This show serves as a prequel to both the original films and the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie we just discussed. It follows the character of Caesar, who was first introduced in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, as he navigates his way through the early years of the ape uprising against humanity. The visual effects used in this show were heavily influenced by the successes achieved in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it further explores themes like species dynamics, power struggles, and the consequences of human actions on the environment. Another example is the Netflix animated series Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving, which features an episode titled The Planet of the Saps. In this episode, we see a group of apes living in a world where humans are considered to be primitive and inferior creatures. This storyline draws clear inspiration from the original Planet of the Apes films as well as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes by reversing traditional power dynamics between species. The show's use of exaggerated visuals and satirical humor adds a unique spin to these familiar themes. Finally, we have the animated film The Addams Family 2, which features an alternate ending inspired by Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. In this version, Wednesday Addams travels to the future where she discovers that humans have become endangered and are being protected by a tribe of intelligent apes. This twist on the traditional narrative highlights the potential consequences of human actions on our environment and raises questions about species preservation and coexistence. These are just a few examples of how Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has influenced other films and TV shows over the years. Its impact on visual effects, storytelling, and character development continues to be felt throughout the industry as filmmakers continue to push boundaries and explore new ways of telling compelling stories with universal themes.
Thank you for sharing those fascinating examples, Tom. It's clear that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has had a significant impact on both filmmakers and audiences alike. Now, let me wrap up my thoughts on this movie by saying that while I am generally not a huge fan of science fiction, I found this film to be very well done and engaging. The storytelling was strong, the characters were compelling, and the visual effects were absolutely stunning. It's a film that makes you think about important issues like species coexistence, power dynamics, and environmental responsibility, while also providing an entertaining and thrilling ride. I would give this movie a rating of 7 out of 10 stars. While there were some slow moments in the film for me personally, overall it was very well done and definitely worth watching.
And I'll add my final thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes by saying that while it doesn't quite meet the heights of its predecessors, it is still a hugely enjoyable film with a lot to offer both casual viewers and hardcore fans alike. The storytelling is compelling, the characters are well developed, and the themes explored are as relevant today as they were when the original Planet of the Apes films were released. I would rate this movie 7 out of 10 stars as well, with a strong recommendation to anyone who enjoys science fiction or gripping films in general. As always, we love hearing from our viewers and readers. Be sure to leave your thoughts on the film in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Tim and Tom's Film Nights. Until next time, this has been a discussion about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Thanks for watching.